Well, in today's video, I would just like to say I wanted to actually talk about video games that were made for the wrong reasons and not in a good way. And I don't know why they made them. Honestly, you know how Sony said that Little Big Planet, you know, the big title that they claimed to be for the PS3 when it first came out. Honestly, when I looked at it, I was thinking a sock puppet. I was like thinking a sock puppet that is your main character that you use. It doesn't bring me joy. Honestly, when I was looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't bring me joy. It brings me to a place where I'm thinking, they must have made this when they were naturally disclaimer, I will say this, if I was high, I would be possibly making or attempting to make that game, because that a sock as your main character, and you call it Sock Boy. I mean, there you go. Sony's worst marketing ploy was making Little Big Planet for any console for that matter. Here's the reason why. Even though they claim that they sold 1 million copies for Sony's Little Big Planet, they don't say how, like they might say they sold an X amount of copies, but they don't exactly give you the correct amount in which they sold. Honestly, when I looked at that game, I was thinking, this is supposed to be their big seller for Sony's platform. And they probably spent $1 billion just developing that concept and hoping that people will buy that game for the PS3 or the PS4. Honestly, no wonder Sony's losing stock everywhere. Because the average person does not have $5,000 for a 4K television, usually. I don't even want to spend $5,000 on a 4K TV. I'm fine with 1080p, or if somebody actually spent, let's take for example, if somebody was willing to spend $5,000 on a 4K TV just for me, I would be like, why? If you use your TV correctly, your TVs could last forever instead of 10 years. And whether or not I look at a 4K TV or a HD TV, it doesn't make that much difference. Maybe the lighting makes that much of a difference, but that's about it. I can't really tell if graphically that will improve the game, because I'm to a point where I just watch TV and that's the end of it. But out of everything that Sony's ever done, Little Big Planet has to be the worst marketing strategy for Sony's PS3 or PS4 ever. I mean, out of all the games that they claim that they want to remake, they chose that one, and they don't want to go in 1, 2, and 3 order. Like, they made 3 other games plus the third one. I mean, they made 1, 2, and 3 games. I don't see why that game couldn't be a set of 3 if Sony's claimed that they made so much money on it, which I disagree with what they said, because that's a contradiction on what they just said. Because if they made so much money, they would come out with the set of Little Big Planet 1 and through 3. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, it's like, when I look at Sony right now as a company, I have maybe, wait, let me go in order of how many games I have. I have, let's see, Deus Ex, which I enjoy that. Horizon Zero Dawn, which I play that, but it's a little hard, so I have to hold back on playing it. I have NBA 2K16 because Kobe's not on the cover. I'll get NBA 2K18 eventually because Shaq's on the cover. Or if I'm lucky enough, I'll find it to buy NBA 2K18. If I could still find it on Amazon, I'll buy that one. And I have Ratchet and Clank. That's what, 4 games for my PS4. I have Nier Automata, which is 5 games right there. Let's see. What else? I have Tales of Vesperia, that makes 6. Devil May Cry, which is 7. And 9 games, which include the Sword Art Online games, which would make the second one and the third one that they made into a collector's edition for the third one. So 9. We got Knights of Ashur, which that will make 10. I wonder if I said Destiny already. Destiny, which would make 11. And Street Fighter, which would make 12. And Mortal Kombat, which would make 13. What else? What's another one? I think that's about it. 13 games. And I paid $450 for my PS4. And I've already had it for about 4 years now, and I'm still not happy with what it does. And honestly, when I look at the Little Big Planet marketing ploy, I can't seem to say Little Big Planet because I guess the title's way too long, or it causes me to say it slower. Little Big Planet. It doesn't roll off the tongue. I mean, when I look at that game, it just feels like when they attempted to advertise that game for some apparent reason, I think Sony was hoping that they would make enough sales so people would not bother them with backwards compatibility for the PS4. but I don't know the exact number because it's not online yet. I mean, they said for the original that they sold 6 million or a million copies of Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet in general. And honestly, when I'm looking at that game, it causes me to wonder, were they high when they marketed that game for that Little Big Planet game ever? I mean, when Sony now makes games, I think when it comes to their own franchises, I think that's what they do now. I think they're hoping, or they just don't care. I mean, they spent what? I heard about 6 million on that marketing ploy for that game, and yet they only sell maybe 1 million, maybe 500,000 copies. I mean, and imagine it's what, $60. They're too embarrassed about the number to give the accurate assessment for that game. I mean, they don't even mention that in their thing on the website of Little Big Planet of how much they sold. I mean the numbers must be low enough where they just want to forget about it. I mean, when I look at that game, I'll state this repeatedly throughout this video. I think when they made that game, somebody was high. Honestly. I mean, there's no way to judge it other than saying that, because I never bought into that Little Big Planet stuff. I never actually wanted to play as a sock boy. I mean, that's the worst possible way to look at a character in a game. Even Minecraft is a better thing. I mean, look at it. It's what it is. I mean, and Sony rather spend what, $6 million on making that go into market than actually promoting a better version of the PS4. And here's another problem that Sony has right now. They're making way too many systems of the same thing with only a 500 gig hard drive. I mean, or 1,000 gig hard drive. At least Microsoft has the common decency to make it at least a 2 terabyte hard drive. I'll look at Sony's stock right now. Let's look at this. Let me look at this. I'm curious. What is their stock margin today? Hold on. I'm curious. I'm gonna type it in, actually. Okay, it's their company asset as of right now for Sony stock is 38.77. I mean, that's as of today at 4:24 p.m. And let's look at Microsoft's stock margins. Let's now that I'm actually looking at it, It's at 72.49. And what about Nintendo's? That's at 35, but 35.780. Wait, 35,000. I think that I'm reading it wrong. It keeps going up a little bit every time I look at it. It's at 35,800. And in comparison, that's due to the Nintendo Switch and all of what else? And all of and this right here, the Nintendo 3DS's. And I have at least two to trade with. I have at least three. One for two that I actually use. One because I wanted one just because Pikachu's on the cover. So I have two to trade with myself for Pokemon because everybody wants to get a shiny for a legendary. I don't know why, or a legendary for shiny for a shiny. I don't understand the appeal of shiny Pokemon. I never have. The only shiny Pokemon I actually like and that looks cool is Gyarados. But that's just me. I'm like, and also what bothers me about Sony is the other game that bothers me, that I think when they made this game they were naturally high, or in layman's terms, Katamari Damacy. Even though it's a game that I would say about 40% of people like from Sony. I would say about 20% at least. But when I looked at it, I'm like, I don't get the whole premise of the king in the sky and he's all glowing and you have to roll up in a ball. You are literally a ball, and you have to gather stuff for that guy in the sky, for the king. I'm like thinking, wow, why did they come up with this game? In my terms, I'm sorry to bore you with what I'm saying, but to me, when you're coming up with a concept like that, I'm thinking you're naturally high or something. Because look at it. If you looked at it closely, certain games have subliminal messaging included in their game. I mean, a sock boy and a king in the sky that lets you roll around and ball like that, and to get stuff for him. I never understood that. I never understood the concept or the recollection why those games were ever made. If they wanted, Because look at the colors that they use too. I mean, and look at the characters. If that doesn't indicate what it actually is, then, and if you guys don't believe me, that's fine too. I'm just saying what I need to say because that's what it looks like to me. So, which I'm fine with. But when I look at those games, I'll probably never, no matter if they make it for the PS5 or the PS4 currently, I'll never buy those games because those games don't interest me. And that's all there is to it. I mean, a sock and you roll around in a ball. And for a king or a false king in the sky. I never understood that. I never found the amusement of those games at all. Never. Under any circumstances will I ever find those games entertaining or amusing enough for me to play. Even if I was a professional game player and got paid to play video games for a living, I'll never bother adding those games to my collection, digital or otherwise. If somebody gave it to me, I would still say why. I mean, why? I'm still saying why to this day. Because when Sony markets a game that you're getting behind, that you're hoping they'll get behind, I don't know why they come up with that stuff. I don't know why. I really don't. I don't understand where they're actually dropping the ball, per se. But they're dropping the ball everywhere. And Little Big Planet is one of those games where they drop the ball. That's the beginning of the end of Sony's greatness. I think that's where they started dropping the ball, because they spent so much money on the marketing for that game that they didn't have much money left to support the PS3, and everybody blames the original PS3 for actually causing the system to fail. I disagree. If I bought 100 games for the PS3 over the past 9 years, it's not a failure. I think it's a success. And on top of that, they actually had backwards compatibility for the PS2, which I already have 73 PS2 games. If I wanted to play those, I can. And that's the bottom line. I don't understand where Sony actually thinks that they're making a profit when they're actually dropping the ball on every other category, whether it's in gaming or if it's in tech. $5,000 for a 4K TV. I don't understand why a 4K TV is $5,000. even the the 72-inch that I saw was when I was hanging out at the Sony store. That 82-inch TV was, how much was it? 25,000. I would say about $25,000 as a TV, and it was 82 inches for a regular TV. I think it had 3D capability too, but I don't like 3D capability because here's why. I don't think it's necessary because I think what people don't seem to realize, what the major side effects are, because eventually, depending on how long people game in 3D, they're trying to make you blind, because that's what, honestly, back in the day, Nintendo had that similar kind of innovation at the time, and people don't I guess people don't remember that, but I do. So, in retrospect, I'm glad Nintendo actually dropped the 3D technology thing that only turned red when you were gaming. I'm glad they dropped that. But everybody says 3D imaging is the way of the future. Honestly, 3D projection holograms in 3D format where you can actually see the actual thing you're looking at in a 3D open image where you could put your hands through it and that image could still talk to you, that's going to be at least 50 years down the line. But people don't seem to realize it. Everybody says, wow, that's 3D. It's still looking the same thing to me when I'm like looking at it. Even when I checked out Sony's or Microsoft, I was like not looking at much of a difference from the actual TV screen that it was projected on, and when I was looking through the visor. I didn't understand what the appeal was. If people look past all the 3D sort of projection screens, or whatever it is, whatever you like to call it, then 3D in this generation is a failure, because it's not full 3D holographic imaging projecting outward. It's still the same thing. It's still looking at a smaller TV but looks 3D. I'm like looking at it like it's the same. It doesn't make any much difference whether or not I'm looking at it from a 3D perspective or a TV perspective. And all it did was hurt my eyes for 2 days. For the 3D projecting stuff. I was wondering, I was tearing up for 2 days because I was watching that. I was looking through it. Even when I looked at Sony's actual first attempts for the 3D glasses, all I saw was blurriness. I didn't see no 3D enjoyment out of it. All I saw was those dots. That's all I saw. I mean, and everybody says 3D is the way of the future. 3D is only going to be the way of the future if they come up with a way to actually project it on the screen, like Lost in Space, the movie, the 1999 the 1999 version of the movie, or was it 1998? That movie, the movie that I'm talking about, that's the only way 3D imaging will be actually achieved and perfected as it's intended to. I mean, and people are spending $5,000 on a 3D TV. I don't understand that. Or a what's it called? A 4K TV. 4K is nice, but $5,000 for 4K TV? Really? That doesn't make sense to me at all. I mean, that's where I sit on that subject. I mean, literally, I sit and not stand on the subject. Because all I do is sit all day because I'm disabled, so that's what I'm doing. So, in a way, I wouldn't mind plugging in my PS3 back up again. Because all I'm using this for is a YouTube device. Because out of all my 13 games, I feel that Sony did more. They were, for the PS3, for what it is, they were ahead of the curve. They were actually above the curve at the time. But now I'm looking at the PS4 as going backwards on the curve. They don't have any backwards compatibility, and they don't even play CDs anymore because of Spotify and all that good stuff. But yet, you have a disc drive that only is allowed to play Blu-rays. I don't like that. I'm a little old school when it comes to that. I like doing everything. I like having Spotify. I like having iTunes. I like having all that good stuff and a bag of chips. And yet, Sony went backwards on that part of their gaming console to begin with. I guess because Sony did so much in the PS3 format, at least for the original 60 gigs, that the PS4 doesn't even compare to the PS3 the PS4 doesn't even come close to the original PS3, because the PS3 for the original, for the 60 and the 20 gig, did so much that all it doesn't do is stream YouTube videos unless you have the proper computer to actually do it, which is totally fine by my standards. But PS4 is not that much more powerful. It's actually a lot weaker than the original predecessor of what I own. I mean, if you look past YouTube, if you look past Spotify, if you look past all that, then the original PS3 is a lot stronger than the PS4. Just because on a physical level of what it actually can do. But graphically, maybe the PS4 is slightly stronger than the PS3, but not by much. Which is about this much. And honestly, when I look at the whole thing of Sony and what it was capable of doing back in the day, by getting rid of at least backwards compatibility for the Blu-rays, it's not really worth the $400 price tag. Maybe $200 worth, with all the stuff that it could do. Because all I'm using this for is a YouTube device. That's it. And if I game, I game on and stream it on YouTube. But that's it. I can't listen to CDs. I can't play my Final Fantasy game because it's not Blu-ray compatible with the PS4. Because I have the PS3 version, which is the better version of the game. And every time I look at Sony's stock margins, I'm not surprised that it's at 38.77 or 30. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. Because wow, that is bad. And the reason why Nintendo is beating Sony right now is because their gaming console is at $300 and they have Mario, Zelda, and Super Smash Brothers. And Samus too. I mean, those are the 4 pillars of Nintendo. And Sony has God of War, which comes out once in a while now, because now they made a new series out of that series. So there's a God of War game because Sony needed something, so they were probably begging Santa Monica Studios to make a God of War game because they were probably desperate. I mean, they have Final Fantasy, but yet that's on the Xbox. That's on the Xbox One too. So, and who knows when Kingdom Hearts 4 is or Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out? And originally, I was thinking that too. It's already been what? Since the PS3's conception which was in 2006, it was supposed to come out. It's already been almost 12 years now since that game has been announced or has seen the light of day. I guess between Square Enix and Kingdom Hearts, I guess Disney is making so much money that they don't really care if Square Enix ever makes Kingdom Hearts 3 ever coming out. I mean, that's what it boils down to now. And you can't say it's because of graphical reasons. You can't say that anymore because it's already been 11 years. I mean, that's what people said about Last Guardian. But that's what I heard, but from one of my buddies. But I disagree with that statement. They probably lost funding, just like Duke Nukem at the time, and that's why they needed another benefactor to actually finish off the production of that game, because it took 11 years to make. The most I'll wait for a game is 5 years, maybe 6, but that's about it. Like everybody says, like everybody has differences of opinion on how long they would wait for something. You know how most guys will say when their girlfriend is shopping at Victoria's Secret. I always talk to, let's say I'll talk to a gentleman and he's saying, I'm waiting for my girlfriend or my wife to get done in Victoria's Secret. I'm like, you gotta at least give her 90 minutes or 45 minutes, because she'll be in there for that long just shopping in there at Victoria's Secret, which, that's fine. I don't mind. See, I would rather wait 6 hours for her to get done whatever she needs to get done, rather than waiting 11 years for a game to come out. That's what I'm saying. Hold on. No, I don't. Not really. If you think that I have a lot of PS4 games, I'm sorry to state that, but that's not entirely accurate. But I have more for my PS3, if that gives you any indication of that. But let's see. What up? And what next week? Approximately. What is it? Hold on. In about. Hold on. Where's that? In 4 days, I'm getting Naruto Shippuden Ninja Storm in 4 days. But the question, hold on, I got a friend request, but I'll get to it later. In 4 days, I'll get Naruto Shippuden. That adds to my collection of PS4 games. But I already have the first 3 as collector's editions on my PS3. And I have the original, just the games without the collector's editions on my PS3. Because after the first Naruto game, they stopped giving the US collector's editions for the Naruto games for the PS3. So I had to outsource my games to Amazon, because I know third-party sellers will actually sell those games on Amazon's website. Thank you, Amazon. I became a loyal shopper for since 2013. Thank you. I mean, without you guys, without GameStop, I would probably have to give up on gaming. I mean, but I wonder, and my other games that are coming out on the PS4 don't come out until next year. At least next year. I mean, and who's to say how long I'll play those? I mean, that's how boring for me PS4 is to me. All I'm using this for is a YouTube device. And really, I mean, again, waiting for a certain game doesn't give me joy from the PS4. When it was the PS3, I was fine, because if I was waiting for a game, I have 72 games extra that I could actually access because of my PS2, the PS2 functionality. But now that I look at the PS3 or the PS4, I don't have any access to that, because the PS3 games, I have about a total of 100 PS3 games in total, because one game has 30 games attached to it, which is the Sonic Genesis collection, which has a total of 30 games in it. And I have almost all the Assassin's Creed games for the PS3. I have the Soul Calibur. I have Mortal Kombat 9, which is Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 mixed into one game. Let's see. I have the Ninja Gaiden series. I have Sonic 06, which I have the what else? Zone of the Enders collection, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I have a lot. I mean, but when Sony took away the backwards compatibility factor of the PS3, that bummed me out. I mean, so in retrospect, what I'm trying to get at, what I'm trying to finish up here with is, because I've been watching the car thing all week long about the history of cars and how they were made on the History Channel. The PS4 is like the Model T from Ford, and the PS3 is like the modern day upgraded car with all the bells and whistles. It's like the Tesla. That's what I'm gonna say. The PS3, at least for the originals, are like the Tesla, with all the bells and whistles, even with the electrical appliances and all that stuff, with the iPod thing. And that's what I'm gonna stick with, because with what I'm saying here for this video, because it's just what it is. I mean, if I could literally put my PS3 inside my PS4, I'll do it. But I would need a bigger frame to actually put all the component cables from my PS3 into my PS4. I would have to customize a frame for it first. If I was that intelligent, I would do it myself. I would literally put my PS3 inside my PS4. That's what I would do. And for that, with that, I leave you. And I'll probably do a video tomorrow, but who knows what I'm going to talk about next time. So, hello, and I'll see you guys later.
Text to speech unavailable here.